we previewed this last week. It's the new comedy series written by Tina Fey that was originally sold to NBC, but they didn't take it up, and it ended up being released on Netflix last week. It's called Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Now, before I move on, I just
sing
need to
the
check.
theme tune.
Unbreakable, they alive, damn it, it's a miracle. Unbreakable, they alive, damn it, with females all strong and unbreakable, they alive, damn it, it's a miracle. Unbreakable, they alive, damn it. That's gonna be fascinating transition.
Damn it!
Matt, how much of this have you seen?
I've seen 1.5 episodes.
I have seen 9 of the 12. I've seen
Fine.
up to the birthday party.
Now, just talking about this is a comedy show.
Or a
It's
sitcom.
basically the main premise is that Kimmy Schmidt was part of a cult where the cult leader, played brilliantly by John Hamm from Mad Men, convinces them that the apocalypse is going on, so he locks them in an underground bunker. And basically, the story is that she is released after 15 years in captivity of a cult, and instead of going back to her home with all the rest of her after a trip to the NBC studios to be interviewed, she stays in New York, needs to find a home, needs to find a job, ends up getting a job with Jane Krakowski's character, who's a wealthy mother or a wealthy wife. She's,
Okay.
I think,
Can I
her job is
interrupt you for a
technically
second?
her job is technically as nanny, but I don't think she actually does anything really nannying. And she ends up sharing a interesting place to live with a gay failed Broadway star called Titus. Although, what's his name in the show?
Titus.
It is Titus, but he refers to himself as a lot of other things.
Did you genuinely not know that?
There's other things, though, doesn't he? Obviously, we won't give away too many spoilers, seeing as Matt has only just started this. But, Luke, your kind of overall impression of this and why you've watched 9 episodes.
Well, firstly, I've watched 9 episodes because it's an easy watch.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly because when you're on Netflix, it's easy. You know, you haven't got to... It's not like the old days where you got to put a tape in and rewind it to where you were or whatever. You can just literally watch it. But it did strike me, sort of halfway through the 9 that I'm watching, that it's good. It's really watchable. I really like Ellie Kemper as Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah.
But it's not as groundbreaking as perhaps people are saying on Twitter, and perhaps I was thinking initially, because my favourite things about it are the fact that she was in a cult in the bunker and things, but they don't get mentioned that often. And then there's Jane Krakowski.
You've not watched the whole series, so...
No, to be fair, no, I haven't. I've seen 9 of the 12. Jane Krakowski is playing a version of a character she played on 30 Rock that I also wasn't a massive fan of.
Okay.
And I think what Matt's going to say is, I don't want to step over his point, but the fact that when Ellie Kemper as Kimmy isn't on screen, it is less engaging. And I would agree with that to an extent
point.
as well.
Let's hear what Matt thinks then. Yes, go on. What
Okay.
is that
This
your
will be
main
a surprise. What do you think, Matt?
Enjoyable and easy to watch, as you said. I think Ellie Kemper is really, really good. I don't think she's one of those people that it's really hard not to like. I agree with you. I don't think they made enough of the other mole women. Really, I know you see them in flashbacks throughout. I like the joke about the Spanish woman, for example. I thought that was quite a good.
Happy Maids.
And I think someone neither of you have brought up is Carol Kane as the landlady, who I think is quite good as well. You know, like sort of, you know, she does the 1 or 2 lines every episode, and she's she's an amusing sort of side character. But I mean, I watched some of the second episode, and it just seemed a bit like the stuff with Titus and the costumes and the stuff with grounding the stepdaughter. It's an interesting premise. It's got a likeable lead, but not everything that Tina Fey does works as well as I think she probably thought it would.
I do like the fact that they play off the fact that that Kimmy's not aware of big popular culture trends and things like that. Which
they
nice
do a good job of putting her back in like early sort of 1980s references or late 1980s references, don't they? The films that she's not aware of, the words she uses. Personally, I think this was really good, and I think this is one of Netflix's first real first real hits as far as their own make. I know that there's a lot of things that they've done now, but for them, this is their first properly from commission show. I mean, Arrested Development was already on television, and Breaking Bad was already in America. So I think this is the first thing that I would say that they've really done. It's a little bit subjective, and if you don't like it, it's tough to break through. But personally, I think, I can't say too much because obviously things do happen in the later episodes. But I think some of the queries and the questions and the things that you've mentioned could get dealt with. I think one of the good things is that they do keep the focus on her, because you're right, she is the main character, she's the likable character, and when she isn't around, it does feel very much like, oh, okay, what's going on with Kimmy Schmidt? We should be always coming back to her. But no, I really, really liked it, and I just binged on it on Sunday. I just watched all 12.
Do you think, in a way, they sort of shoot themselves in the foot? Because if people love this, which they did, they do love it. There's a lot of praise for it on Twitter and a lot of, talk about it. And most people, it's not even been online a week. It started last Friday. Most people, like yourself, have seen all 12, and now they've got to wait however long, a year, for the second series.
I don't particularly mind. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the series. If I want to, I could always go back and watch it if I wanted to, and I don't mind that. I mean, it was my choice to binge. No one made me. I suppose that you're comparing it to Netflix other thing, Better Call Saul, where they're releasing an episode a week, and that's fine. I feel like with a drama, I can wait a week. With a comedy, I don't think it really matters.